Ahoy my hatchlings, I'm Splashes, this is Lycan, and we are in hardcore Minecraft. Normally you kill the dragon in your first 100 days, but we have something else in mind. You see, we are in 1.19, which means there is a new big scary boy on the block, the Warden. Now we want to do something unique, so rather than swords and arrows, we are going to kill the Warden with redstone. But we are nowhere near ready to do that. We need to get some tools, armor, and enchantments, so we need some villagers. We also need a source of emeralds to pay for those things. And lastly, we need parts to make a TNT-Duper. Also, making a house might be nice, you know, have a place to live. But first, we need to punch some wood. Ah yes, the most enjoyable part of starting a game. Breaking our fists on a tree that is probably more than 150 years old, based on the growth rate of oak tree, and that this tree is literally a meter across. So let's talk about some ground rules for this series. Obviously, this is a hardcore world. That means if we die, and it's over. Also, because this is a collaborative series, if one of us dies, the series is probably over. Otherwise, we are basically going to be following quote-unquote vanilla SMP rules. Practically, that means no duping of items or blocks, with the exception of TNT, because that's way too useful for so many machines, and possibly dragon eggs just because there is only one of them in-game. We will also be using some vanilla tweaks resource packs, like you tend to find on large SMP servers like Hermitcraft. We have also set the needed player sleeping to just one, which will make our lives much easier. Lastly, we have disabled PvP, just to avoid any unfortunate accidents that could cause the series to come to a sudden, unexpected end. So the very first thing we are going to do after breaking down a few trees is go off on a big adventure and try to get a lot of treasure. This will give us a whole bunch of goodies like iron, emeralds, gold, parts of the sea, foodstuffs, and even diamonds. To cover the most area possible, Lycan would head south, and I would head east and then north. I will also grab some spruce and dark oak saplings since we'll need that for the build later today. That was basically the plan, but then Lycan and I found each other just in the middle of the sea? Hold on.
Oh, real.
Wait, what is this? Is this your other boat?
You found my broken, simple boat.
Yeah, but it's like just hanging out here over a portal.
What? No.
Oops. What?
What? Yeah, that is me. That is me.
Oh, hi! And so we went together a little bit. Well, we spent 25 days treasure hunting, and we got ourselves so much treasure. We are kitted out in iron gear, I got 18 diamonds, a whole bunch of hearts of the sea, and we got ourselves nearly a stack of iron blocks. We finally have enough resources to actually really get started. Now that we have some basic tools, we need to get ourselves a couple villagers. Unfortunately, there aren't any particularly close, so we're going to be going on an adventure. Fortunately, there is a river that will take us right there. Villager acquired. Let's head on back to our little starter base and get these guys set up. Or at least started to set up. Oh crap, I fell into the path. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No! Heck. With the villagers back home and started a little bit, we should look at building ourselves an actual house. So while Lycan deals with the maddening task of villagers, I'm gonna make us a cute build for us to live in.
Oh, wait. Why do I have to deal with the villagers?
Because that's what the script says.
Okay, but I'm gonna build a ship first.
And given this is the start of adventure, why not build the first stop in one of the most famous adventures, the Prancing Pony? After gathering the materials and doing a little bit of terraforming, it's time to hit hyperspeed build mode. Of hyperspeed build mode, and we used so much diorite on these two builds.
Yeah, 11 stacks. Are you mental? No sane person uses diorite for building.
Yeah, I have schizophrenia. But these half-timbered buildings like this use wattle and daub, which does use cow dung.
Well, yeah, this is that's cow dung. This more looks like bird poop.
Well, bird poop is pretty valuable. There was a whole war fought over it, and a bunch of islands claimed for it. But this does look pretty nice, and the real reason for the diorite over something like quartz or wool is because the diorite adds this nice bit of depth right here. So right now we don't have anything on the inside on either of the two floors, minus some iron golems and a couple villagers that hung out. But down here, Lycan has been quite busy. They've made this area quite nice, and they've added all these little details, and it took us a while, but we finally got all the villagers set up. We're on day 158 of 100, so off to a good start here. But oh, the ship, we need to show the ship. But Lycan also made this absolutely beautiful swan duck boat thing, and I absolutely love what they've done with the sails, where they've actually put the sail, you know, It's actually in irons, and I love it. It's just such a nice detail. But with that, we can go to the nether. We don't need much there. We only need some soul sand and some quartz.
Uh, uh,
Okay. Oh god. Why are we all the way up here? So we're in a basalt delta. Literally the worst option that we could have gotten. But there are some nether wastes over there, so if we go over there, hopefully we can get ourselves some quartz and soul sand. Oh my goodness, I hate these places. Why? I hate the nether. I hate the nether so much. Okay, quick trip in and out of the nether. We managed to get ourselves about a half stack of quartz as well as a half stack of soul sand. So now we can finally get on to the next step. Now that we have silk touch, we can get ourselves a coral fan. This is what actually lets us dupe the TNT. Now we selected a map that has a warm ocean near us. Only problem is we need to go around 5,000 blocks because we're on a large biome map. Normally I wouldn't play large biomes, but we have got some huge plans assuming we both survive these first 2 episodes, which have the greatest chance of killing us. There we go, coral fans. Now that we have some basic gear and villagers set up, the stick method is not going to work for us long term. We need a proper way to get emeralds. We decided to go for the simple stacking raid farm from Logical Geek Boy. It's manual, but it will get us a few thousand emeralds per hour, and more importantly, these guys, the Totem of Undying. Having some of these on hand could easily save this world from disaster, since neither of us can afford to die. Fortunately, there's a pillager outpost not far from the coral reef. Also, it's in a desert, so great chance to snag some TNT from a temple. Perfect. Now let's build that raid farm. This farm was the most anxiety-inducing thing to build I think I have ever done. Oh my god. Fortunately though, this farm does seem to work well, and should get us lots of emeralds and totems, which we have already equipped. It's a simple manual farm, but it does spawn all the waves at once, and the boats should keep us safe from the Vex. But thank heavens, that is over with. But with all the materials now gathered up, and Lycan and I fully kitted out, it was time to go find the Warden. This is going to require a bit of setup, and as everything in this world, the nearest Deep Dark is really far away, so it's going to be a bit of a trip to get there. And then once we get there, we still have to set up the TNT-Dupers. Originally, I was going to use the slamless TNT-Duper my friend Astra introduced me to. It only requires a few sticky pistons, and this machine works great in farms, but it doesn't drop the TNT very far, a little too close to the Warden for comfort. So instead, we are going to use this duper from Iceberg Lettuce. It doesn't actually need slime, or coral fans for that matter, but it is easy to break and it is directional, so we just have to be a little more careful. With that, let's get back to the real world, where we are over the ancient city and ready to begin our descent. So the TNT-Duper is finally set up, and my anxiety is so high right now. I tend to say things are like at least a 3, but I think my anxiety right now is like a 4. Oh boy. But with that, let's begin our descent. We began our descent, dropping TNT down into the ground to get towards the Warden. We have to start off slow to not scatter the TNT, but we can begin dropping faster as we get further down. Then we have to wait for the trapdoor to come back down, or we can break the duper. After around a minute or 2 of TNT dropping, we have bottomed out the drop distance and it's time to move the duper down. Descending down into the depths was honestly terrifying, and Lycan made me go down first. Though there weren't any actual holes, and I had like 6 totems on me, so I don't know why I was so scared. We pulled it off a bit and quickly rebuilt the duper before it was time to head down further, and we started the duper once again. After a short bit, we eventually broke through the roof and into the ancient city, but there was a problem. Our duper was positioned just a little too far from the skulk sensor, so we couldn't trigger the shrieker. I shut off the recording for a moment, trying to figure out what to do, before we decided to move it over closer to the shrieker. We dug out an area for the duper, and again headed down. It wasn't long before we broke through the cave and into the ancient city. This time though, we were close enough. But oddly enough, skulk shriekers don't react to TNT, so we had to throw down a few more blocks to actually activate the shriekers. Finally, the Warden spawned, and it was time. We began letting down a barrage of TNT, each hit triggering the Warden and forcing him back under our blasts. The Warden had a lot of health, and it took a long time to finally kill him. But after a few more TNT drops, the Warden is dead. And just like that, we have killed the Warden with Redstone. So you can in fact kill the Warden with Redstone. We even did it a couple more times. Now some might say killing the Warden this way is cowardly. But with that, my hatchlings, thank you so much for watching. We put so much work into this episode. It was a very anxiety-filled episode for me, and honestly, killing the Warden that way was, for all the anxiety, kinda anticlimactic if I'm honest, but it was cool to see that we could in fact do it this way. This is the first hardcore episode I have ever actually done, and editing it took a really long time. I'd love to hear any feedback you have on it, and we'll be doing some mad projects here, so if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. But with that, my hatchlings, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next episode of Minecraft Hardcore. Hello, welcome to my void. This is where I stay when you're not watching a video. There's a video above. You might like it. Click it.